Hello and welcome to the new Tin Dog podcast. As you can hear from my voice, things have improved somewhat since the last podcast. Thanks for sticking with me and sending me a few emails, hoping that my voice gets better soon. Well, as you can hear, it has. Given that the BBC have decided to show Torchwoods back to back, and combined with my voice going, and more importantly, that the new series of Doctor Who looks like it's going to be starting on the 5th of April, I've decided to do 3 Torchwood podcasts, each covering 2 episodes per podcast. That way, people who aren't interested in Torchwood can just hang on, and I'll be able to do a Doctor Who podcast the week that Doctor Who airs. I'll be able to catch up and everyone will be happy. So this week, I'll be talking about episodes 2.9 and episodes 2.8. Of course, a cynical person could say there is yet another reason why I'll be doing 3 special double podcast reviews, is that I don't have a huge amount to say about the show. For example, A Day in the Death deals with good old-fashioned Zombie Owen. There are 3 narrative strands. We have Zombie Owen talks to the girl out of Early Doors, particularly good actress. It's as if she's in a completely different show, and deals with her potential suicide. Storyline number 2, how Owen is dealing with his own afterlife, or non-afterlife, you know what I mean. And storyline 3, Richard Briers, the man out of The Good Life, and for those Doctor Who fans out of the classic series, the great architect possessing the caretaker in Paradise Towers, not the greatest and most subtle of performances from the original series, so it's nice to see Richard's allowed to act his socks off today, which he does. An additional storyline is Martha leaving, so the writer had a lovely job of interweaving all of these together. The MacGuffin of a fairly dangerous device called the Pulse, which is eventually discovered not to be dangerous at all and in fact something nice and CGI based, is a lovely little thread that allows you to skip from story to storyline. Obviously there are holes in the story, as there always are in this sort of thing. I mean, let's face it, Owen's meant to be dead, and if the only thing that's bothering me is the fact that he can talk when he can't breathe, or that he doesn't register on a heat sensor in a room, but he has left the doors open, which also doesn't trigger the heat sensors. I'm just being picky. Let's face it, the parent show, Doctor Who, has made much larger errors, and it's getting to the point where I'm actually less forgiving of Torchwood. It's as if I have higher expectations, and I'm not completely sure where they've come from. For me, the best scene in the whole episode was when the girl out of Early Doors has a flashback to the car crash where she lost her husband, and that was just tremendously well done. Torchwood really is finding its feet, so there are no enormous gripes. The next episode could be described as the comedy episode of the season, as it did have some very high-level comedy. Or should that be low-level? We open in the pre-title sequence with a nice split narrative of the hen night, that's the bachelorette party. For those Americans who don't quite understand that sort of thing, I didn't understand that the word hen night didn't appear for Americans until I saw Jerry Springer in England not quite understanding what the audience was saying. Have I digressed? Have a drink. Gwen's wedding intercut with the hunting of the Evil Dead vampire shape changer shifty monster thing, ending with the wedding day morning and Gwen being pregnant, with hilarious results. In all honesty, it was handled very well. The whole mother-in-law being a monster is a fairly obvious gag, but only sci-fi could follow it through to its logical conclusion. And what a mother-in-law. We have Nerys, I can act the socks off anyone, Hughes. She's great, she rocks, and she's in Shada. Again, another nod to classic Who casting. If you've not seen Shada, and you're a fan of the new Who, it's a slow story but well worth experiencing because it deals with some of the spiritual aspects of Doctor Who that you just don't see anymore. It also deals with colonialism, but as I'm not reviewing that story and I'm reviewing this one, let's get back to Nerys' portrayal as a zombie. The pregnant bride motif is quite popular across England despite the fact that we'd rather it wasn't. Oh dear, I've gone a bit political again. Let's just leave it there and save that for a whole different storyline. The only character to actually get killed off in this story is the DJ, and to be honest, most wedding DJs kind of deserve some male treatment of some sort, so perhaps the writer was just exercising some of their demons. For many members of the audience, this has been the highlight story of the whole season. well thought out, well acted, apart from the blatantly workshopped scene argument, which always seems to come across between Gwen and her hubby. Perhaps that's just their acting style. Although I was impressed by the look on Gwen's face when the stripper turned up. Again, my gripes with this story are small. Let's go get bigger guns. They go to the boot, and rather than pick out big guns, because if you're being invaded by aliens, the last thing you want to be able to do is have to assemble weaponry, but that's what they do. They assemble something that looks like a kit form. Oh, it doesn't matter. It's not a great plastic gun. But if people have been to BFGs, I'm sure they can find other pictures elsewhere. Are you excited for Season 4? I know I am. Donna is my last best hope for something marvellous. And it's only a fortnight away. Oh, the excitement is mounting. While I was off with my sore throat, I was working on my novel, trying to get together a package to send off to an agent, because in these enlightened days, it's very difficult just to contact agents, publishers directly, and say, hey, I've written this book, what do you think? So I'm doing it logically, and I'm following through everything that all the books say. You get together first few chapters, a fully functional synopsis, and you send it off. I'll keep you informed, but don't worry, it shouldn't affect the outcome of all the podcasts. I'm not going to abandon my audience at all. And so, to sum up, 2 very reasonable, very well executed episodes. I must admit, I'm looking forward to the next one because it's written by P.G. Hammond, and I've not seen it yet. He's the guy who wrote Sapphire and Steel, and the fairy one from Season 1. Very excited about that. Although I have had a text message from a friend who's already seen the episode, and he wasn't as impressed as you would think. And so I'll leave you now, and let you get on. And I'll speak to you very soon about episodes 2.10 and 2.11, and then finally end up with the final show of the final 2 shows of Torchwood. Be seeing you. You have been listening to the Tin Dog Podcast. Doctor Who and its associated shows are all trademark of the BBC. No infringement is intended. Contact us at tin-dog@hotmail.co.uk.